So I have this problem in New England. We have a very rocky soil. It's just a fact. No matter how hard I have tried to clear certain areas of the garden of all rocks, it's just not possible. You think you've done it, you have a giant bucket full for this one area, you go to dig, and there's another rock. It's just a fact. So I had tried for years to use those nice round tomato cages. I even got the really extra large ones and the ones that were really heavy duty, and I thought this was going to do it. But it doesn't matter what kind I tried because I would spend hours, literally hours, caging my tomatoes, moving my cage just the right way so all three of the legs of the cage could find a spot that I could get it down deep enough that it wasn't hitting a rock that kept it from going any deeper. So some years I just had them in the ground very shallowly, and added a heavy stake on 2 or 3 sides of the cage as time went on because the cages were falling. And I realized, well, this doesn't make sense. Why do I even have a cage when I'm staking all around it anyway? So this year, I took just standard plastic, really quite wimpy actually, stakes. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. And I lined them up in rows when my tomato plants were really small. I had 3 or 4 of those stakes along each section where I planted the tomatoes. So I had 3 tomato plants here with 4 of my stakes on one side. And then I just left that be for a while until the tomato plants grew to a good size. Then I added, oh, might not be able to even see it, the plants are so overgrown. I just added twine. And I can't get in there to show you. Trust me. I added, here we go, some twine. As the plants grew taller, I added another row of twine. Then, when the plants got to an almost mature stage where they were starting to get the green tomatoes, I then added my stakes on the other side. So now I had 4 stakes on the front and 4 stakes on the back of these 3 tomato plants, right? And I have rows upon rows like that. I didn't add the twine on the backside because I really wanted to be able to get into my tomatoes and clean them out. It's near the end of the season now. I haven't done it in a while, but clean out all of the dead stuff, really make sure that there weren't any weeds down in there. So I left the twine off of this side for quite a while until the plants got to the point that, okay, now, Michelle, they are really mature, they're going everywhere, I need to control them. And then I added the twine on this side. I still, though, because I had done such a good job of keeping control of it, keeping the weeds out and getting rid of the dead portions of the plants, as it was too watery for the tomatoes and the leaves were dying. We had a lot of rain this year. I really kept on top of that. Because I had done that, by the time I added the twine on this side, I had no trouble from then on being able to keep things cleaned out and reach my tomatoes. You see, when I had those tomato cages and all these stakes and the tomato plants were going crazy, I couldn't get to my tomatoes. And I had the worst trouble that they were like down inside of all this mush of this tomato plant being contained in this circle. So now I can let the plants fill up this whole area. I keep them held up with my twine. I also used old sheets. I would use old sheets or old t-shirts here to tie up the tomatoes or the plants as the tomatoes got heavier and as the plant grew to really give it some more stability wherever it would need it. But I could get in and manage that well with this setup, and I love it. It's worked really well for me. So even though I'm always going to have all those rocks in the soil, these little simple stakes weren't hard for me to get in because it's just one stake. So if I got it down in a few inches and hit a rock, okay, I can move it over a few inches and try again. So I got this whole setup up in less time than it would have taken me to use the cages. And I've been able to maintain the tomatoes and keep the plants in really good condition, keep the weeds out, and control it all because I could get to them. So this has worked really well for me. I hope that maybe gives you some ideas of what might help you with staking your tomatoes, but this is definitely the way I'm going to be doing it next year too.